deadline to apply for it is tomorrow. The window ends at 5 p.m. School in Richland County starts the Tuesday after Labor Day. A scary new scam in Augusta where people are actually trying to take your blood. The CAVE Task Force tells us people will come up to you and ask if you want to be tested for COVID-19 antibodies. They ask for your personal information, including your Medicare or Medicaid number. Then they take a swab of your mouth or even take your blood and claim your results will come in the mail. The scammers are described as Hispanic women driving a black vehicle. They do have ID badges, and if you know anything else about them, you're asked to call your local law enforcement agency. To Florida now, where coronavirus case totals are hitting a new record. The state's health department confirming the state has now seen over 500,000 cases. This is a look at the lines for antigen testing in Miami yesterday, which allow people to get virus results much quicker. Florida's hospitals are feeling the strain too. New data shows 53 hospitals in Florida are now at ICU capacity. Meanwhile, in Georgia, the state COVID test came back positive yesterday. That's the highest rate since the pandemic started. To look outside now, here's I-20 in Grovetown. We're doing much of the same as yesterday, Riley. Some chance of severe weather out there.
Exactly right, Sierra. As we were saying earlier, the same song and dance again for us. We do have that threat for a few strong thunderstorms through this afternoon, even up until a little bit after sunset. Currently, we're not seeing widespread storms by any means. They're kind of on our fringes, just kind of peppered all around our area. As we head later into this afternoon and evening, these bad boys right here, you see that little skinny line, once it animates, that's what we call an outflow boundary. Basically, rain-cooled air under those storms pushing out ahead of it. It acts like a mini cold front, and it can set off new storm development. So it's hard to necessarily diagnose where exactly those are going to go and where it's going to pop up, but that will be happening through this afternoon and evening. Pretty good storm between Allendale and Fairfax there in Allendale County. That's where the strongest storm is currently here in the CSRA. As we were mentioning that outflow boundary, though, you can really see it right there and how it initiated this new development. So if you were sitting in Aiken, it was probably sunny, then all of a sudden this showed up and rain's just pouring out on you. So that's going to be possible for everybody in the CSRA through around 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock tonight. So we'll have much more on this forecast in just a little bit.
Over on the coast, one person is seriously hurt and several houses were destroyed in a fire this morning in North Carolina. Fire officials say the blaze broke out after 1 a.m. in Ocean Isle Beach near the South Carolina border. 6 different agencies responded to control the fire. Officials say one person had to be medevac to the hospital. Investigators believe the fire started after a car that was flooded out by Tropical Storm Isaias ignited near a home. Taking a look at the latest unemployment numbers released today, South Carolina reporting a new low for unemployment claims. They say almost 9,000 people filed for unemployment last week, which is the lowest since the pandemic started. Aiken County had 245 claims. Over the past 20 weeks, more than 700,000 South Carolinians have filed for unemployment. We're also getting some new numbers from Georgia. The Department of Labor is reporting that 73,000 people filed for unemployment last week. That's 11,000 fewer claims than the week before. And taking a look at those numbers on the national level, last week about 1.2 million Americans filed for unemployment, 300,000 less than the week before. That's the lowest amount yet since the start of the pandemic. Keep in mind, though, we're still in record high territory. Before the pandemic, the record for weekly unemployment claims was about 700,000. New tonight, we're learning the Atlanta woman charged with murdering her roommate at Clark Atlanta University has been denied bond. Jordan Jones was denied bond at a hearing today. This comes about 9 months after investigators say Jones strangled her friend and roommate Alexis Crawford to death. Investigators say Jones also got help from her boyfriend, Baron Brantley. Brantley is also accused of raping Crawford days beforehand. Today, the public viewing held for former presidential candidate King passed away at the end of July after fighting COVID. A private service will be held tomorrow. Delta Airlines says its workforce shrunk by a fifth as part of a plan to reshape the company. The airline said 20% of its employees voluntarily left the company. Those employees were offered retirement or exit packages. Delta CEO says it's all part of a broader plan to, quote, transform into a smaller, more nimble airline. A heads up, if you're driving in part of Columbia County, work on the I-20 interchange bridge at Appling-Harlem Highway is starting tomorrow evening. Crews are extending that bridge with more lanes. Some lanes on I-20 will be closed for construction as a result, and GDOT tells us there will be delays. This work will be done Monday, and the entire project won't be finished until 2022. This is work leading up to the Amazon Distribution Center coming to Abilene. Another local event canceled due to the pandemic, this time the Orangeburg County Fair. It's postponed until 2021 now. This year it was originally set from October 6th through the 11th. Organizers say stay tuned for next year's date, and they're working to make sure it's special and memorable. Well, you're taking a live look at the first high school game day in the CSRA since March. We'll show you how things are looking a little different.
And we are expecting storms through this evening, and but looking better for the weekend. We'll have an update for your forecast coming up.
99 after a car wreck? That's easy. Call all nines now.
The ACC has revealed their 2020 fall football schedule. Some big games we saw: Notre Dame versus Clemson and Miami versus Louisville. All 15 schools will play an 11-game schedule with one non-conference game. Everything kicks off Thursday, September 10th, which is normally the second week of play. The championship game will be on December 12th in Charlotte. Officials say they're moving forward as long as public health guidelines allow, and they're prepared to make adjustments if needed. To see the entire schedule, we have it posted on Wrdw.com. Today is a big day for high school sports in Georgia. It's opening day for softball teams across the state. That means it's the first high school game we've seen since March. Some teams in our area are playing right now with some new COVID precautions. News 12 sports director Mike Yakachonis is live for us at Grovetown High School. Mike, are there things that are looking any different out there?
Yeah, Zayna and Sierra, I gotta tell you, to me, this feels like the light at the end of the tunnel. Not just for me personally, but for so many of the athletes within the CSRA who've just been waiting for their chance to get back on the high school field. Now, yes, there are some changes that we're seeing this season. Let's go ahead and talk you through some of them. Probably the most notable for any of you fans who really like the concession stands, those are unfortunately going to be closed. Also, all the players were temperature checked before they were allowed to hit the field. Obviously, we want to make sure nobody's playing with a fever or anything like that. Just like the MLB, we have some extra spacing in the dugouts. That way we can maintain physical distance, make sure everybody's keeping plenty of space between each other. Now, this is one of the more interesting parts, too. Each team is responsible for bringing their own balls. That way, for example, we have Burke County facing Grovetown. Burke County brings all their own balls. That way, they're not touching Grovetown's balls, and vice versa. We're going to come back, actually, at 6:20 for another hit and give you a look at the game in progress. And again, I couldn't be happier that these athletes are getting that chance to hit the field once again.
Thanks, Mike. Good to see you out there. Here's drone video of the scene in Abilene today, following some pretty intense storms yesterday. Heavy rain and winds reported up to 95 miles per hour yesterday. You can see the trees that toppled over. Trees fell over the roads, but people came out with chainsaws to clear them. By this morning, they were gone. Riley, people thought they had tornadoes, but we learned what made it to some of our area yesterday. They're called downbursts.
Exactly right, Sarah. That was a downburst, and as you can see from that Sky 12 drone video there, the trees are gone. They've already cleaned up once we got out there this morning, but they were all laying down in the same general direction. So it lets you know that that was just that strong downburst gust that kind of blew everything in the same direction. But the National Weather Service estimated those winds yesterday near Abilene up to 90 to 95 miles an hour. So those downburst winds are not your average thunderstorm by any means. They're somewhat rare. You don't see them all too often, but when they happen, they produce a ton of destruction. We do have that risk for a few strong storms to form again this afternoon. Most of us have remained fairly dry. We're tracking a storm there in Allendale County between Allendale and Fairfax. Nothing all too concerning. We don't have any active warnings out right now, but as we head later into this afternoon and evening, these outflow boundaries, which is the skinny little line you can see right here, you can see it starts right there, and it just helps initiate new storms. So this is why it's very difficult to pinpoint exactly where and when these storms are going to pop up. So I know everyone wants to know when it's going to hit their backyard, but it's just impossible to do during the summertime months. We do have better storms to our south, and they are trying to make their way further north. That's starting to set off some tiny downpours there in Washington County. So once again, as we head later into the afternoon and evening, we're going to see our coverage of showers and storms increase. We're not expecting to be completely dry until around 10, 11, midnight tonight, so we have several more hours to deal with these storms. There is going to be that threat for a few stronger storms. The Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma did place us underneath a marginal risk, so this let us know isolated severe weather will be possible, mainly for our northern counties, Wilkes, Lincoln, McCormick, but I would say everybody in the CSRA has that potential to see a stronger storm. This comes from the Weather Prediction Center. They are letting us know that the heavy rain threat is going to be with most of us. These downpours produce very heavy rain rates and definitely could cause some issues with some flooding. Here's a jump ahead to this evening around sunset. You can see a lot better coverage of showers and storms, and this model definitely hinting at the possibility of some stronger storms as well. Now, as we head towards midnight, we'll see that activity fizzle out. Should be dry early tomorrow morning, but anytime after lunchtime Friday, we are going to have that opportunity for some showers and storms to form once again. We could have a few stronger storms tomorrow, not ruling that out, but luckily, as we roll into the weekend, Saturday is looking drier for us. We're not expecting as good a coverage of storms on Saturday. It appears mainly isolated, but that would mainly favor our counties closer towards the coast. So if you have any lake plans for your Saturday, that actually does look good to go. It is going to remain very hot, very humid as well. We're not going to see a huge fluctuation in our high temperatures. A little bit warmer for the weekend and then slightly higher storm chances by early next week.
As the start of the school year gets closer, the South Carolina Department of Education is making sure your child stays safe on the ride to and from school. Today, Jason Raven got to see firsthand how they'll be cleaning their buses.
As you know, masks will be required on every South Carolina school bus, whether it's a driver or the students. But today, we got an inside look at how these buses will be cleaned. Drivers will disinfect their school bus after every ride. They'll be using these new electrostatic sprayers 2 times a day before their afternoon pickups and at the end of the day, so the bus is clean and ready to go first thing in the morning. They'll also be wiping down every high-touch surface on the bus between trips. Now, it's a little more cleaning than they're used to, but officials say they are confident this will keep your child safe.
Units with air conditioning, there'll be at least 4 windows on each side down 4 inches, and both roof hatches will be set to the vent position.
Education officials say less students, only half capacity, will be on the bus at a time. This will help them practice social distancing when they're riding to and from school. In Richland County, I'm Jason Raven.
School districts are encouraging parents to drive their students to school if they can. Still ahead, a local family is trying to pick up the pieces after they lost everything to a fire. How they're staying strong and how you can help out after the break.
I'm Lindsey Graham.
Watch 1226 on your side, wherever you go.
Many families are struggling to make ends meet right now, but imagine trying to get by and then losing everything you have to a fire. It's a reality for one Augusta family now living in a hotel. News 12's Wrdw shows us how they're picking up the pieces and how the community can help.
Imagine losing everything you have. No clothes, no shoes, not even a place to lay your head.
The house is just gone.
Well, that's reality for Keelan Palmer and his family. After losing their home to a fire back in July, now they've been living in a hotel for weeks.
When you're the one that everyone depends on normally, and you're at a loss, you don't have no idea what to do.
He says every day is full of uncertainty, especially now that money is running low.
As soon as I wake up in the morning, my first thought is like, what do I got to do today? Reach out to someone or to try to get some help?
But when the day comes to an end and it's time to get sleep at night, well, that's a struggle within itself.
The worst situation that I could imagine.
He says as a father, there is nothing more painful than not being able to provide.
A million things are running through my mind, and most of them I can't do anything about.
He received small portions of help from the community and clothes and furniture vouchers. But he says it really doesn't serve a purpose when you don't have a home to fill them with. It's a pain that he lives with every day, not knowing if him and his 3 daughters will be out on the streets.
Every day I still am hearing when we're going to be able to go back home. So, that's hurtful within itself.
Wrdw on your side.
You can help out Palmer and his family by donating food or clothes. They say any type of contribution will be a big help. We posted the link on how you can donate on our website.
NOAA did update the 2020 outlook for hurricane season. We'll let you know more about it coming up.